You're listening to Love Talk Live with the relationship expert, Jaime Bronstein, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello. Welcome to Love Talk Live. So excited to do this show today. I have an amazing human being here with me.
Oh, that's kind.
Her name is Zoe Lumiere, and she is a coach. She helps people with lots of things. And I think it's actually better if she explains what she does.
That would be wonderful. Actually, I would love someone else to explain what I do to me, right? Well, it's hard to label or in some ways to pigeonhole what you do, because I really do a lot of different things based on the client that I work with. But I do work with people ready to fall in love, and for whatever reason they've just had some unconscious blocks or just aware that they have held themselves back. And it's the biggest part of my healing, really unwiring those blocks. I was single until I was 33. So definitely helping people let go of those blocks to love is close to my heart, but I also do work with other kinds of clients.
So one of my questions before you get into really the work that you do is, can you describe to our viewers, what do you think is the difference between a coach and a therapist? So why would somebody go to a coach versus a therapist? A therapist, you know.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I do think talking about labels and pigeonholing, it's a spectrum perhaps, rather than one does one and one does the other. I can talk about coaching. I'm not sure how fully I can talk about being a therapist or just why someone would go to a therapist. But I really love coaching because it not only addresses your past and what's held you back and how your past has an influence on right now, it's really connecting you to tomorrow, what you want, right? So I feel like a therapist perhaps does focus more on what is the challenges, what are the hurts, what are the challenges of the present and how to really work through them. Whereas a coach, in my experience, does work on those unresolved issues to help you let go of what's been holding you back, either in beliefs or behavior. But it really, for me, is more powerful because you're really also anchoring it in the future in terms of what it is that you want. And I have a very spiritually based coaching practice, so it's really connected into what is your soul asking you to show up for in this lifetime. So let's heal and let go of anything that's not working. But I feel like that's almost supercharged in the context of why are you here? What really are you here to do, to serve, to experience in this lifetime?
I love it, and I can totally relate in terms of the work that I do, because I feel like over the past few years I've kind of gone away from the typical therapizing, let's say, and just really brought into, it just feels more aligned with my soul to do more coaching work. So I totally get it. But I just wanted to know, what your definition was. And like you said, it sounds like there is a spectrum. People are coaches for all different reasons and help people with all different things.
Yeah, and there is, talk about the toolbox of a coach really could be infinite, right? And I like to describe the coaching that I do is that it's not really about defining an end goal and then just doing whatever we can to push ourselves to achieve that. And I think some people have that perception of a coach, right? Kind of more like a sports coach, right? We're going to win this game and this is everything that we've got to do to get there. And really showing up for spiritual transformative work is much more about showing up and letting go, really relaxing and loving ourselves rather than a push, a drive, or a forcing something home.
And also what we learned is, and what we teach is that we have no attachment to the outcome. We are trusting that whatever is going to happen has already happened and will happen. And so it's more about doing that work that we need to do to get to wherever we're going, right?
Yeah, truly. I agree,
So I would love to hear your story.
Great.
And that will just kind of lead us into lots of amazing things.
Yep.
So I don't know if you've acknowledged this, but this lady has an accent. She started living in...
I moved to the States in 2005. So close, just around the corner. But I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I actually moved here for a meditation retreat in what would have been 2004, actually.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with the work here. I was a marketing consultant. I was actually also just getting out of headhunting, and my entire life at that point was about money. Talk about outcomes. I think I was the most attached person to outcomes, to money, and that really kind of set me up for a wonderful spiritual breakthrough / breakdown. And it was when I came here to the States to do a 2-week meditation retreat that I fell in love with this new perspective on life that I just couldn't get enough of. So I moved here, and I've been here since.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So it's such a rich question. Like, tell us your story, and I'll tell you what I would consider my love story.
That's why we're here.
Because I was single until I was 33, and I always thought, I liked guys. I did date occasionally, but I never actually went on more than a second date with a guy until I was 33.
Wow.
Right? And I look back and I could see some reasons why that might have happened. I was sexually abused when I was very young. Mum died when I was 14. Dad left when I was 3. So it wasn't rocket science to really have a look at that and go, oh, wow, there's probably some issues, some challenges here holding myself back from being vulnerable, from being loved. But just knowing that didn't heal it, right? Just being aware that, oh, yeah, it's probably the sexual abuse. It's like, well, that's great. What does that do for me? It didn't do anything until I actually did a master's in spiritual psychology, and I really dove deeply into actually my present life, and I was in love with someone inside of my head. And anyone who's been in that pattern of unrequited love, oh my Lord, I don't know if there's a more torturous thing as unrequited love, just being so in love with someone, but it being completely disconnected to reality. And so I was just in this pattern of being in love with this person, and actually being in love with we're getting really up close and personal right now. I had a pattern from when I was 16 through until, around this early 30s, where I would be kind of head over heels in love with powerful, chauvinistic men who were all had personalities very, very similar to my abuser, a person in my family.
So fascinating.
Isn't it? And so the pattern just kept repeating until I really dealt with how unhappy I was in this current life, and then also really dealt with, actually, I do want a boyfriend. As terrified as I was to say that, I really began to be able to say, I really want someone, I want this. And
so it's almost like that was more important than any of the other stuff.
Yes.
Once you honed in on that.
Yes. And definitely a big piece was forgiving my abuser for the sexual abuse. But I do have to say, and I'm not sure how this will be received because it's such an experiential piece of information, but it really, the biggest piece, I do believe, was me forgiving myself for that time, because, it happened when I was little, but it was me that continued to relate to myself as abused, as broken, as dirty, and a lot of the misbeliefs that I had created to keep me safe at the time, which were actually really important. But at 33 years of age, as a beautiful young woman, I didn't need to hold myself back anymore. So I really, self-forgiveness was just probably one of the most important parts of my healing, and definitely one of my favorite tools with clients.
And you were in victim mode, and it's very hard to shift and to manifest when you're in victim mode. 100%. So you obviously got out of victim mode.
Yeah. And, today it's an amazing experience to have really loved and gone through the pain and the suffering of an experience, because now I look back and I truly do experience it as one of those invitations to living on a deeper level, right? If my mum hadn't passed, if some of these really challenging things hadn't happened, I often think perhaps I'd be, happy, I don't know, living in a lovely white picket fenced house with 2.3 kids and wouldn't have had the opportunity to really come to a deeper understanding of why we're here and really what's important about life.
Yeah, we all need to go through the muck.
Yep.
And we don't all have to do this. If you are called to go through the muck, and to just do that inner work, to look at your life and to look at it as, okay, everything is happening, everything has happened for me, not to me. Yeah. What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? And it sounds like this is what you've done, and this is how you help your clients.
Yeah. And it's a challenge to take something like being sexually abused at very young, or having someone that you love so much die, and to really be open to, how is this for me? But it is I have yet to have an experience in my life, or one of my clients have an experience where when you truly show up for yourself and really go through that healing and really go through that experience, that there isn't profound love at the heart of it.
And a thought that came to me a few minutes ago when you were talking, and then I feel like this can be so inspirational to people, is that I'm watching her tell her story, and I'm seeing this. She has love on her. She's all about, it's so clear that she's like this light, and she's all about love, and that it's not unfortunate. It is what it is, that people that are that pop into this world, I can relate, as like these light beings, and then life happens to you, and then you need to do the work to get back to that light. Because and also I was thinking about when you were saying that you only went on, this is when it came up, when you only went on first dates. I was thinking, wow, I'm sure that you always felt so lovable, but maybe during that time you didn't feel as lovable, so it wasn't being portrayed, and you had kind of lost that loving feeling, that feeling of love for yourself because of life circumstances.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting, right, because I do believe we're so multidimensional. So I think in some ways, I even my whole life I experienced myself as lovable and worthy of love. But because of what I'd been through, there were definitely some parts of me that just did not feel worthy of love, and were just holding myself back at every cost, mostly because I'd bought into this misbelief that I wouldn't survive another abandonment. I wouldn't survive another abuse like that. But the good news is that we all will, right? No matter what it is, we will survive. And while ever we're saying we can't deal with another heartbreak, we can't deal with another loss, I hate to call bullshit, but we are strong enough to go through it all. And it's a gamble, but if you want to gamble yourself into love, we do need to gamble also getting hurt again.
We are resilient.
We are.
As humans and as divine beings, we are resilient. And actually, I believe that the more we go through, I actually saw this thing on LinkedIn today. I didn't read it yet, but it said, like, why is rejection helpful? And the more you go through things that you need to be resilient, it's like you keep building that muscle, your heart muscle, your heart strength muscle. And every time it happens, you learn more about yourself, and then you show up more authentically, so you can attract the right person.
I agree.
Which we do want to hear your story, because she has an amazing, happy ending story.
Yeah. So it was when I went through this Masters of Spiritual Psychology, and I learned that every time I was hurt, right, I could actually, instead of blaming this guy for not loving me, or blaming other people for not appreciating me, not recognizing me, that was really my big thing at that point. I just felt so unappreciated, so unseen, so unvalued, particularly at work. And every time I would feel that, I did one of the most important practices, I believe, which is really actually allowing ourselves to feel that feeling, right? And to actually feel hurt. And I, for about 9 months following that program, I fully geeked out on this because I wanted to shift these patterns. I didn't want to continually feel afraid of men or like it was never going to happen. And so anytime I was hurt, I would really show up for myself, right? And almost like, oh, wow, there's this beautiful small child in me that's really hurt, and how can I love her? Instead of saying, suck it up, we don't need to hear you, you're fine, like life's okay. Like really just let that hurt unravel and really pick her up. And through that process, it's a bit involved to get into here, but through that process, really forgive the judgments that were holding me back. And within 12 months, I was with my now husband, and 7 months later, we were married. And the other incredible part of this story is that we were great friends for 10 years before this happened. I actually had a crush on him to begin with, and I had to let him go because he did not like me back at the beginning. And then, right?
So many questions. Yeah,
and so then we were good friends for 10 years, and then all of a sudden, I was aware. Oh wow, I think. He's asking me out to brunch and he's asking me to go hiking, but it's actually quite a lot. Maybe there is something here. And it was me that actually finally put something on the table. I'm very proud of that. So I really...
So take a chance.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to trust their heart. There is no gender roles, I believe. But we were such good friends that... it sounds crazy to say, but from the second day we were all in...
the second day of dating.
From the second day of dating, we were all in.
You just had this huge acknowledgement and discovery, and you were like, whoa.
Yeah, and we both also were very aware that we wanted someone that was really dedicated to themselves, to getting their love from inside of themselves and to really doing this healing spiritual work. So we really came at it from that perspective, and we just formed an incredible partnership that continues to get better every day.
So I love a good love story. So I have some questions.
Great.
And this can be inspirational for these people out there who might be in a situation like this, where they might be in love with their friend.
Yes.
Their friend, and sometimes people just end up giving up. Yeah. So can you tell us a little about, did you tell him how you felt at some point? I
love this story. I would love to tell it. So I have to do a little bit of a disclaimer because, when you hear someone's story and you get like, oh, maybe the rule is to always do this, I think there's a problem there. No rules, right? Go inside, trust your heart, listen to your intuition, do that. That's the.
However, this can be inspirational.
Yes, truly, there is something here. So I actually went out on a date with another guy, a different guy, for the first time a couple of weeks before. And for the first time ever, I actually told him that I liked him.
Which guy?
Another guy.
The random
man. Guy that kind of got me started to thinking about dating again.
Okay.
So, and up until this point, that was unheard of, right? I'd never told someone that I liked them, right? Like, that's such a, come on, ladies and men, it's a really scary thing to put it on the table. Hey, I like you. But I was just
it's so freeing.
Yeah, and I was just so clear that I was in, right? I wanted to check out a relationship with this guy.
So let's say his name was Frank.
Let's say his name's Frank. And he just very lovingly said, I don't feel that same way. And for whatever reason, I feel like just, this may sound weird, right? But just a piece of karma had been lifted, right? Up until that point, I was just so afraid of really being rejected, of being abandoned again, of really putting my heart out there. And then over the next few weeks, I could just really all of a sudden tell that Eric, my now husband, was, yeah, we were friends, and he was always very sweet and kind to me, but there was something else. There was something else going on there, and I started to feel more confident about that. So actually, we were driving to get frozen Yogurtland together. This is not a promotion for Yogurtland, even though
You can fall in love at Yogurtland. Go there now.
And so I was driving, and I turned to him, and I said, "Do you ever think about us?" And to this day, I still, if I had thought about that, what even does that mean, right? But he knew exactly what I meant.
And did you not plan that out? You just did
I did not plan that out.
Yeah, because you were going for yogurt.
We were going, but there was, I think just all of the work that I'd done in getting my love from myself and really showing up, right? Really showing up for, I'm ready to have someone in my life. Did create this energy, did create this self-love that really inspired me in the right moments, and I do believe gave me the balls to put that out into the open. And so he said, yes, and let's go have yogurt. I wanted, and let's
get
talk
married
about this, and then tomorrow let's get married.
Yeah.
But we just... It
So
was an incredible yogurt, and then driving home, this is so cheesy, but it's a good story. Driving home, I had my hand just resting on the gear shift, and he put his hand on my hand, and it's so cheesy. Like, I almost had to pull the car over, the electricity,
you start crying.
I did not start crying. I held it together, but it was just...
Was that the first time that you actually touched?
No, as friends, I'm sure we'd...
Held hands?
No, definitely never held hands, but we'd hug.
But
as friends, we'd hug.
hand-to-hand
definitely.
touch
First time
is a big deal.
Yes. And
that's where the energy is.
Yeah, it was so beautiful and so incredible. And, then we went back to his place, and we watched a movie. We had a really awkward kiss.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah.
And
then the next day we went hiking, and then we were pretty much inseparable for... that point on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, but you kind of answered. Like, after this whole, hello, do you ever think about me?
Yeah.
Was the rest of the evening uncomfortable? But obviously you said no, but the kiss was uncomfortable.
Well, no, the kiss wasn't uncomfortable. It was just awkward.
Was
in
it
that
orchestrated?
I guess
like,
I didn't have a lot of practice kissing, right? If you've never been on more than a second date, you haven't really had a lot of experience at kissing.
Oh.
So it was being with him, like being in his energy field, being with him was really comfortable, but natural. The yoga, we were just like friends, and I was definitely excited because, I just kind of alluded to liking him, and he kind of alluded to liking me. So it was incredible, and there was a new energy there actually. And when we sat at yoga, like, our legs were touching. Oh my God, I love these details. But then it just felt very natural very, very quickly.
He probably found you very endearing, also that you were like a little shy because you didn't have a lot of dating experience.
Yeah. Well, and that was also a really big transformation for me in my own healing, because I'd always held that against myself, right?
Yeah.
I'm so immature, so inexperienced. Like, who wants to be with someone that doesn't know how, honestly, to do a whole lot of things? But I really, feeling whatever feelings I had about that and really showing up for myself, I really could see the beauty, like the incredible sweetness and the strength in that, right? I just felt like, what an exciting time of my life to be, and what a beautiful, this sounds a little cheesy, very cheesy maybe.
We love cheese.
To give the gift of really supporting me through that, right? And I really started to see it as a plus, as a pro, rather than something that was against me in terms of my lack of experience, or that I was so inexperienced.
And this totally speaks to what we talk about a lot on this show, that you can and will change and shift your story if you take the time to do that.
Yep.
So your story was that you were inexperienced, these were bad things, you were judging.
Yep.
But yet at the end of the day, when things are meant to be and two people are supposed to come together in this world, it doesn't matter where they were, they're together now.
Yeah, truly. And you know, I
and
consider,
it flows.
And it flows so easily and so beautiful, and I really do consider a lot of this work kind of like reparenting, right? Really taking those challenges, those hurts that we have inside, and really giving them that unconditional loving, that sweetness, right? If we went to our mums with some of these challenges, you know, what would she say? She'd say it's okay. It makes you even more beautiful, right? And when we truly allow that loving to repattern over whatever misbelief we've got holding ourselves back, energetically it is cleared to an extent, but we do start to let that go.
Healing is the application of loving to the places inside that hurt. Yeah. Right? And you flood those places with love, and you've done that so beautifully. Yeah,
thank you. And continue.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's one of the reasons.
It's not just like, okay, you're done.
I'm done, right? I'm healed. Check. Right? I while ever we're here, I really do believe there are going to be opportunities for us to continue to grow, continue to learn how to love ourselves more unconditionally.
More and more.
Yeah.
However, I believe that you can resolve an unresolved issue for the last time.
Yes, I do agree.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to get to like the age of 87 and be like, I'm totally healed, I'm ready to die, I'm perfect, you know?
Yes.
It's more that when you can heal an unresolved issue for the last time, and then you work on the next one. And yes, of course, you get enlightened and you evolved and you awaken. And you do get to a point in your life where maybe even all of your unresolved issues have been resolved. Mm-hmm. However, but then getting back to the healing, life will always give you opportunities to heal more.
Yeah. Truly. And, you know, I can, you know, easily find challenges in my life that used to be a real challenge, like my weight, my body image. When my mum died, I started eating. I was bulimic for 15 years, kind of coincided with that break. Mm-hmm. But after doing this work for about 3 months, it was gone. Like now I can eat, I shouldn't say this, well I should, I can eat whatever I want, I eat whatever I want, and I feel great about myself, whereas I have 20 years of journals painstakingly pouring my heart over how much I should eat and how, and I was a bit chubby, I was, you know, maybe 20 pounds over what I am right now, but I was it was so painful my whole life. And then I really started to do this work on my mum's death and my abuse, and I really, for the last time, I feel, let go of some of those issues. Definitely have others I'm working on, but that was just such a nice experience for night and day to really be challenged in a particular way and then really do the work and really feel very free from that addiction, from that behavior, from those beliefs.
And I love that you're bringing up a physical issue that is emotional or that can teach us something. For instance, a client of mine, she just said that she got pink eye, and she looked up, so Louise Hay, for those of you that don't know her, she's a beautiful being. She's now in spirit. In the spiritual world, tons of books, and inspirational speaker. And so she must have I think she has a specific book on looking up ailments.
Yeah, she has a full directory.
And seeing what does this mean about like what's going on in my life. And she said, I have pink eye. I looked up Louise Hay's book, and she told me to like use a bat and like hit a pillow and like get out my anger. And she's like, it's gone. Because maybe I didn't read it yet, but I think it's probably about that pink eye is in our eyes. Maybe we're not seeing something whenever we get an ailment.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, I think there's like the whole left and right side of the body, and it's all so interesting.
Yeah, it really, really is.
So I know that I just want to make sure you went over all of the things that you wanted to talk about. Great. So about healing past hurts, which we definitely talked about, and what issues you had to resolve, which you pretty much went over.
Yeah.
My question is, how did you know that you were in love with Eric? And was there a moment?
That's a great question.
Eric, are you watching?
Honey, to be honest with you, I really knew that I loved him 10 years before.
You did.
And I'd often, funnily enough, even though I'd just been on this date with this lovely new guy, said I liked him and got rejected, that weekend I actually had brunch with a couple of girlfriends, and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to end up with Eric Lumiere.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I again, right, it's not like that didn't come from my mind, like it still doesn't make sense. It was a knowing, and so I to be honest with you, maybe that night or the next day, it was just...
Oh, I wish I was at your wedding. This is amazing. This is such a beautiful love story.
Yeah, we do feel just very blessed to have found each other, and and I have to just give the biggest plug to getting your love from inside,
yes.
because I think this world sets us up to get our love from other people, right? That our husband, that our family are gonna love us and take care of us. And when you're set up that way, you're definitely set up to get hurt and to really have experiences that are going to shine the light on, oh no, you need to take care of yourself, and your love needs to come from within you. And when you are, everything reflects that back. And so, and it's not to say that I don't get upset and still want to blame my beautiful husband for making me upset, but pretty quickly he will hold me to, no, that's not accurate, right?
It's not about him.
It's not about him. Whatever I'm feeling or experiencing is within me, and it's a great, he will stay and hold for me in that moment, but really having this paradigm of getting our own love from within really is I think what makes our relationship so great.
Yeah, and people always ask me, how do I do it? How do I love myself? And what I say is, you just, the quote, your job is not to seek for love, but to get past the barriers that are preventing you from your authentic self, from accessing your love.
Truly.
So it's not that you need to build love, you need to build your confidence. It's already there.
Yeah.
But we oftentimes as humans are in our own way with our stories and everything. So the answer is, do that work. Take the time to go inside and to work on those stories, to change the stories.
Yeah. And I really...
and get out of your way.
And get out of your way, yeah. And a really easy place to start is just, as we were talking earlier, is just really being more vulnerable, really allowing yourself to be the imperfect person that you are, right? And that truly, and it's a little cliche, but your imperfections, really embracing and loving those really will lead you, guide you to the unconditional loving, right? It's easy to love ourselves when we're, or the lovely parts of us, that they're easy to love, but to really take some of the parts that in some moments we wish we could change, but we really accept ourselves right now, and we really learn to, not just in words, but to really, right, love that big booty, or love the bitchiness sometimes that we show up with, or whatever it is that we would judge or make imperfect, right? How do we really love that part of us?
Yeah, because we all come with our quirks.
Yep.
And but if we can love ourselves about them, then the spouse, the partner, the boyfriend, girlfriend that's going to come in will also love them. And if they don't, then you do that work over, let's have a conversation, because people don't change. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned over the past few years. People don't change, and that is one of the biggest problems in relationships, because people truly believe from their core, oh, I'm going to help them. I'm going to be their savior. I'm going to change them.
Yeah.
Or when we get married, things will get better. Or when we have a baby, things will get better.
Yeah.
But that's so not what it's about.
And yeah, definitely not a healthy move to really be in a relationship for their potential. And I agree. I see it a lot, right? And
it's so common.
If you can't accept absolutely everything about them, right? And I think over time, they may change, right? But you need to, in my experience, I need to really love them for exactly who they are right now, because if you're not able to do that, there is going to be a little suffering, a little more than you need.
Also, something that I've been working on a lot is I've been working on this because I'm doing another project that has to do with couples, and I feel like one of the most important things to acknowledge in your relationship is who's growing, where are we growing together, is one person growing and evolving and doing that work, is the other person, and are they doing it individually, wonderful, independently? Most importantly, is the couple growing together or regressing, And that is such an aspect that I believe is one of the biggest keys to a long-term successful relationship.
100%. And, if I look at all relationships, but particularly romantic relationships, right, it's our challenges, it's our conflict, it's in those heated moments when we're either hurt or angry. Like, those are the opportunities to really get closer, right? You can build a lovely relationship through cupcakes and nice moments, right? But it's how we really move through the conflict, through the challenge, and really let ourselves be vulnerable, let ourselves actually be heard and understood. That's really, in my experience, that's intimacy.
And
right?
That can't happen if there's judgment going on. Judgment trying to change the other person.
And so what my husband and I will do, whenever one of us is out of balance, right, we will sit down and we're both we've done this for so many years now, that we just, when where shit is up, right, we are the one that's in the hot seat, right? Because the challenge is that when we're out of balance, right, it's so easy to go, you need to change, you're the problem, right? I need you to do this. And it's not easy when you're hurt, right? Feel like, oh my God, but he really should be taking the trash cans in every Thursday, or whatever it is.
Never about the trash cans.
To really own how you're feeling, right? And so Eric will really just, okay, I hear you. Yes, we can talk about my behavior later, but how are you feeling? And when I can really own that, and often a moment from childhood will come up, or a much deeper issue will come up that often has nothing to do with my relationship with my husband, maybe the way my stepdad treated me, or something else. I don't feel heard or seen or something, and if I can really own, well, this is how I'm feeling, and if my husband can really be there neutrally, lovingly, right, not trying to point the finger at me, but just holding for me lovingly, I can pretty easily let that go, right? See that, oh wow, yeah, I wasn't able to have a voice when I was a child, or it's really important for me to do the right thing, so you not taking in the trash cans triggers that, or whatever it is, but really sitting down when we're triggered, but not trying to change the situation or the behavior, but to really go, hey, there's a part in me that's hurting, that's challenged. Can we just show up for that part of personal healing and personal growth, which is very, very challenging, right? Because whenever we're upset, I want to fix whatever I think made me upset, but that's the illusion, and that's the challenge.
But doing the hard work is always so beneficial.
Yeah.
And you'll always grow.
Yes.
Are you a 2 on the Enneagram?
What's the achiever?
3. You're a 3.
Yeah.
I'm a 2, which is the helper.
Got it.
9 is like right behind it, which is the peacemaker, but then 3. So I'm like a 2 leaning to 3.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know your other?
I don't. Maybe a little while ago I did, but no, I just... just relate to the achiever.
Very interesting, especially for couples to really look at it's like 144 questions. It's just another one of those personality things to look at, but really insightful. Yeah. And really helps you understand the person that you're in a relationship with. You can do this you can ask your family members also and your friends. It just helps you have more compassion for them because we are always all doing the best that we can at any given moment. Yeah. And we are all so different.
Yeah, yeah. And it's easy, right, to perceive someone else's actions that they mean what it would mean if I was doing that, right? But we're very different. It's really valuable.
So I know that you wanted to announce she has an offer that she wanted to give to you guys.
Yeah.
Sounds very cool.
Well, it's something that I've had ongoing for a while, and I love sharing a little bit about the story of how it came about because I have I call it the Allowing Love program, and it's 5 steps that I walk my clients through either in terms of a 6-month or a 9-month program, and it includes a meditation that my clients will do each morning. And one of my beautiful clients was hit by a bus. And was in a coma, was almost did not make it, was just an incredible, Teresa Lawro, if you're out there, honey, I love you. She's doing incredibly now. She's in full recovery. She's an absolute rock star. She's doing her own speaking work right now. But she was in the hospital, so she couldn't, kind of read my emails or do the work. So she asked me if I would record it on audio. And if it weren't for how dire her situation was, I probably wouldn't have taken the many, many, many hours to record this on audio. And then being the incredible person that she is, once I'd created it for her so that she could listen to it, she said, you should give this away. You should put this on your website. It's amazing. Like, give it away for free. And so I did.
Wow. And she has an awesome voice.
You will have to listen to this voice. It's a 10-minute meditation, 7 different meditations over 7 days. Okay. And it accumulates in a final 10-minute meditation that really supports us in receiving, connecting to that love, the frequency of love that we want, and I won't get into it too much, and then a few other very important tools, including self-forgiveness, and you've got to throw in a bit of gratitude because that is really, the juice is there. But it's a simple 10-minute meditation, and it is free, available on my website. You can go to allowing.love and download it there. So it's just the usual. It's a very weird website name, right? But allowing.love.
No, it's a beautiful
not
website.
Allowing.love. I just really encourage you to dive into that, and please let me know how it goes for you if you do.
And I know you have like your Facebook and your Instagram, different names. Yes. So Instagram.
Yes. So Instagram is allowing.love, exactly the same as the website. And this is a bit confusing. Facebook is allowing.love, but it's DOT. So allowing DOT love. Because you can't do the other one on
That's
Facebook.
like my Facebook is the relationship expert, the way it is, yes. But my Instagram is the relationship expert.
I know,
because it's just how it is.
Technology, we love it. And
now, so can people contact you to schedule sessions and email you, call you?
Yeah, if they go to allowing.love, everything will be there. I do only work for clients for a minimum of 6 months.
And all that information's on the site?
And all of that information is there.
Okay, wonderful. And as always, feel free to email me at Jaime, Jaime, at therelationshipexpert.com, or go to my website, therelationshipexpert.com, with any questions, comments, anything that you'd like to say. And I am so grateful that you're my guest today. You were amazing. Yeah. So I hope all of you guys were inspired by this show.
Yeah, I just think it's such an honor to really talk about this work, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's not easy, right, to really share some of our challenges, but to really shine the light on them, because truly jumping in on them and loving them and being guided through them really is where the best parts of our life exist. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share and to let it all hang out. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And being vulnerable, just always remember this. Being vulnerable helps you grow. It helps you get closer with the people in your life. And just being open, honest, and raw. That's just the biggest gift you can give to yourself, and loving yourself unconditionally. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a great week.
Take care, everyone.
You're listening to Love Talk Live with the relationship expert, Jaime Bronstein, only on LA Talk Radio.